Good Monday morning to you. I wanted to continue today on our business planning little segments that we're doing here. We're doing like a little bit of a three-part series. Last week, we talked a lot about cash flow analysis and how that might not be something that your CPA or your bookkeeper is recommending that you do. But I have found, and after listening to a lot of other great business leaders out there, I have found that I and they have been kind of doing this behind the scenes. And it just really helps us understand where our cash flow ends up becoming a problem. And is there any point where you need to be making key decisions as a CEO? So if you didn't get a chance to listen to last week's Money Mondays episode, I recommend that you go back and really listen to that one. I did that one first because I felt like it was one of the more important ones. Today, I want to talk about our Startup Expenses Worksheet that we've been including in our business planning course. So if you are looking to build a business plan for your apparel business, we now have a brand new course available to you that you can take. It has a series of videos where I kind of walk you through the business planning template that we provide to you. It's based on me setting up my business plan and working with a bunch of different clients as they have been either reworking or setting up their business plans too. We wanted it to be kind of apparel industry specific, right? We go out into the world. I will say, as I've been getting into like business coaching and watching videos and trying to learn about building a business, there's very little information out there that actually pertains to our specific industry. And it is a very niche industry. It's hard to know how to proceed as a fashion brand or as an apparel brand when you're following maybe something that like a software company would do, or a real estate company would do, or a life coaching company would do. Those are all very, very different things from what we have to do inside our industry. And so what we're trying to do is get you some resources that actually apply to you and help you build the business of your dreams. So we have this new business planning course out there. Last week, again, we talked about the cash flow analysis template that I included in that course. The next template I want to talk you through is the startup expenses template. And this one is fairly self-explanatory, but it can be really helpful to get your eyes on someone else's template to see what it is that you might need to consider spending money on. Like if there's a list there of like, do I need a brick and mortar space or can I work out of my home? Do I need a warehouse or a 3PL or can I package and do things out of my home? Do I need to be hiring team? Who is contributing to the startup of my company? Is it just me? Am I just putting in my own owner's owner, I don't even know what to call it right now. Like your owner's contribution. Sorry, that's what to call it. Am I putting owner's contributions in? And that's 100% from me. Do I have partners in this? Are they going to be adding contributions? Do I have any investors? Do I have a business loan? Do I have friends and family who want to help me start it up? Listing out all of those monies that are coming in to your business to help you start it up is really important in one section. You really want to be listing out who's involved, who you're going to owe money back to, all of that kind of stuff. And then really bubbling up all of the different expenses that are going to be included in you starting up, because startup expenses are very, very different from your monthly recurring expenses. Like if you, for example, okay, when I started on Mark Street, I was going to be fairly digital. I knew I didn't have like a ton of product that I needed to be investing in right up front because I was going to be doing freelance and consulting services. But a few things that I definitely knew I was going to need were like a new computer for myself. I had always worked off of a company laptop in the past, being at corporate. So I had like this dinky little like at home laptop that I just used to kind of go on the internet every once in a while and pay bills. And that sounds so old. That's like something that I feel like my grandmother would say. Like I just use my laptop to go online and pay bills and check emails. But that's what I was doing on my personal laptop a lot of the time. And so understanding that I was going to be working on potentially some 3D animations, I was going to be working in pattern software, I was going to really need the Adobe Creative Suite. I was going to need a computer that could handle all of those graphics. And so I ended up needing to invest in like a desktop tower. It's basically a gaming computer that I ended up buying so that when I do 3D renderings, when we do pattern revisions, when we do all of that kind of stuff, my computer can totally handle the software and it makes everything look really beautiful. So that's really helpful for our clients that I have that. But that was a startup expense that I needed to buy one time. And then I don't end up continuing to pay on that computer, right? Like it's mine. I bought it up front. Same with like a monitor and these microphones that I have. And there's like ring lights and desk lights and all kinds of stuff that ended up being included in just setting up just a general like workspace for myself because I was no longer going to be working for someone else using their equipment. I also decided to go buy an Alvin mannequin because I knew I was going to be running a lot of fittings. And so I wanted to be able to run pre-fittings on my mannequin and then use live fit models to check the fit. And so by doing that, I knew I was going to be working with a lot of female-based businesses. I knew we were going to be targeting that type of consumer, that type of business. And so I went out and bought myself a size medium women's Alvin mannequin. And that was a big expense upfront too. Getting it shipped, getting it ordered, figuring out the right size, working with the Alvin team. Now, I was really lucky that I had a lot of connections in that space already because I'd already worked with Ralph and his amazing team at Alvin for a couple different projects throughout my corporate career. So I had someone I could connect with. I had someone who I could really work with that quickly. But I needed to be able to set that money aside. And Ralph was really able to help me figure out my budget and figure out what it was that I needed to set aside or have upfront to start that up. Now, if you're starting like a brick and mortar store, let's say, or you want to have an office space, you're going to need to include what is the lease on that per month? What are the depreciation costs? Then that's something that you should be talking to your CPA about. What are the depreciation costs maybe on a place that maybe you're not leasing, but buying? Maybe you're buying an office space. What kind of office furniture do you need? What kind of fixtures do you need? What kind of signage do you need? All of those are upfront expenses that you want to start considering. And so there's a lot that you kind of want to put into this startup expenses worksheet because you want this to be set aside separate from anything that you're going to be doing throughout the regular day to day, month to month of your business as it proceeds, because you're going to need to start by spending kind of a bulk chunk of change up front. And so you want to know those numbers. You want to put those into your business plan so that if you are sharing that business plan with anybody, they can see right there on the paper, this is the kind of money that they're looking for up front to really be able to get started on the right foot. So we do have a template in the business planning course that you can get. All of your startup expenses can be added up. There's all the formulas in there like we always have in all of our templates. Super easy to use, super easy to see. And it kind of does jog your memory on maybe a few things that you might need to understand. As an apparel business, if you are, of course, getting ready to buy inventory, setting some money aside for your first production order can be really, really helpful. That's also why we're including in this business planning course our pie chart resources that we offer online. So there's a free resource where you can just see the percentages of how your business really should break down if you're spending money and making money inside your business. We also have the ebook that has all the actual numbers of what we recommend. So how much we recommend you save to start your business, and then how much we recommend that you be making every month and in the way of sales, and then also spending every month to be able to make sure your business never goes in the red. So we have those two resources also included inside the business planning course that we now have. I want you to know that we lowered the price also on the business planning course. So if part of your startup expenses is to buy this business planning course, now you can buy it for just $99. We wanted to make sure that it was really, really accessible. We've been really looking at all of our pricing across all of our tools just to make sure that they're accessible to you so that you can get them at a price that makes sense. But I do want to talk a little bit today, just to kind of wrap it up, about something that hit me really hard when I first started my journey as an entrepreneur. I was looking into a lot of different free resources as I was writing my business plan. And before I started the company and really started diving into like paid coaching and paid business resources, I was trying to do everything for free. I was trying to get it at the lowest price possible, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. And someone finally said to me, when you pay attention. And so that really woke me up, where as soon as I started to pay for resources and buy courses and sign up for paid business coaching, I took it really seriously. And so I showed up for the masterclass. I actually read the PDF that I downloaded. I was in every single coaching session, taking a bazillion notes, paying attention, figuring out how to execute. And if those things had been free, I might have easily said, maybe I don't need to go today, or maybe I don't really need to pay attention to this because it didn't cost me anything to get it, right? There's like a psychology behind that. And so when people are kind of reaching out to us to say, like, yeah, we think these prices are still too high, or we think you should be giving more things away for free. We had someone in our DMs the other day saying, you shouldn't be out here trying to talk to anybody about selling anything if you're not giving anything away for free. And I kind of ended up having a little bit of a friendly back and forth with them of like, when you pay for these things, when you pay for a business planning course, you're going to pay attention to it and you're going to get it done. And so while you might think that $99 is maybe still a little bit too much, I want to make sure that you get this done. And so it might sound selfish of me to be charging you for these kinds of things, but I want you to know that it's in the name of trying to make sure that you actually get this stuff done for your business, because we're about to go into a really hard time with the economy. Like, we're starting to watch all of these tariffs actually go into effect right now. And if you're not setting yourself up for success by doing the things that you've been procrastinating on, doing the things that you didn't think you could do, doing the things that you felt like you needed support on, but just couldn't quite afford it yet, if you don't figure out how to dive into those things and make them happen, you're going to feel this economy even harder than if you had dove into these things, spent $99, expense it out of your business, write that off at the end of the year, $99 to build your business plan, know your numbers inside and out, know exactly what your marketing plan is, know how you're going to function as the CEO of your business. That is 100% worth $99. And so when I think about going back and spending like $30,000 my first year to get business coaching, it was worth every penny because it made me do the work. And it actually 3x'd my revenue that year because I learned what I needed to learn to run a successful business. And so if you think about being able to not just 3x this business planning course or anything else that you buy, and it doesn't even have to be from me, right? But I really want you to start thinking about, who are you listening to online? Who are you following? Who do you feel like is giving you really good advice? Who's always got their ear to the ground, kind of making you feel like, oh, I didn't know that. This is something that I could really learn from this person. If they've got a product to offer you, and again, it doesn't have to be me, like you don't have to buy from me, but I really encourage you to think about buying something so that you pay attention to it and start taking certain parts of your business more seriously. So this is why we really want to get this business planning course out to you. We think it would be really, really valuable to you and your business. Again, next week, we're going to go through the last of the key templates that we have in the business planning course, which is your profit and loss statement. If you haven't been tracking a profit and loss statement, you are not a CEO. I'm just going to say it. That is some really rough news. But if you're not tracking a P&L, you don't have a business. You have to know what your profits and losses are every single month, or you don't know anything about your business. This is the core. This is like the one thing that every business needs to have. And I actually argue that every personal person also needs to have a profit and loss statement. What are you bringing in every month, either with a 9-to-5 paycheck or your waitressing job and your tips or your overtime pay or whatever it is? What are you bringing in every month and what are you spending? If you're not doing that, even on a personal level, it is really, really hard to manage your money, and it's gonna get harder. So we'll talk about that one next week. Again, if you have questions about the business planning course, please let me know. We are trying to get out to as many people as possible. If you really want to get it technically for free, you can also join the board. The board annual membership is 1 year of full support from me and my team. And we want you to have access to all of these things that we're putting out there. So we've included as a bonus, if you join the board, the business planning course for free, you just get it for joining the board, but you also get so much more. You get community, you get networking, you get support, you get me and my entire team teaching every single week. So there's a lot that's involved in that. And so if you're looking for a community and you've been hesitant to join in on something, that's also a price that we are looking at lowering so that you can access it for a much simpler price. When you think about just spending $3,500 or less than $300 a month, $3,500 for the whole year, that's a bonkers price. Like, you just cannot get into coaching for that amount. Some of the lowest coaching that I've ever paid for has been $4,500 for an entire year. And we want you to have a little bit of a discount on that. So we invite you to join us, invite you to do some business planning. If you want to do it for free, go out and try to do it on your own. Totally. I just really encourage you to do this work. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday, and we will talk soon. See you next week.